Okay, well, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast, Felicia. If you could just introduce yourself, share a little bit about yourself for anybody that doesn't know.
Sure thing. I am Felicia Koors. I am the founder of Community for Courage, and Courage is actually an acronym for Creating Opportunity, Uniting Remarkable, Ambitious Girlfriends Everywhere. And that is the business I started. Mostly the events that we hold are in Denton, Texas, and we try and do everything from social events, workshops, conferences, to anything that can help support and grow women's community and their networks.
I love that. And you're also a mom, a wife, all the things.
All the things. Dog
Yeah.
mom too. The dog's got to go to the vet and take medications, and somebody else I take care of.
Yeah, all those dogs. Oh my God. They're very needy sometimes. So yeah. Um, so I would love to kind of go back. I mean, I love everything you're doing and I'm super inspired by everything you're creating. And I think it's so needed. And it's also needed to have that example of what it could be possible for someone out there that doesn't have the courage yet to step into those spaces and those rooms and those opportunities. So take me back to like when the idea started. Like, how did this bubble up for you as like, hey, there's a need here? Like, how did that come across for you?
For me, I'm a self-proclaimed personal development enthusiast. I love to go to those things. I love to be a part of that. And because there's just an energy about whenever you get around a bunch of other people who want to have a better life, have a more intentional life. Like there's just an energy you can't comprehend. You have to experience it. So that's always been my big thing. So I've always enjoyed that. And it probably started around 2019, of course, right before COVID, all these things that happened, which was I want to get together with like-minded women, specifically in my area. And I had just recently attended the Rise event by Rachel Hollis that was actually in Grand Prairie. And it was one of those, I saw the large scale of things. And I just, in my head, I kept thinking, it'd be great if we had something like this, maybe a little bit more intimate. Maybe it doesn't have to be thousands of people. It's like, I know they're out there. So what if I start small? What if I start within where I live? What my neighborhood is touching a bunch of other cities. So it's like, what that would be great to do something similar on a smaller scale. And then not only did COVID hit, but that's when I had my daughter. So it was kind of one of those things that kind of just into the back of my mind, always still there, but wasn't at the forefront to pursue at that moment. And then once it seemed like we kind of came out of the pandemic and we started to get back together at events, of course, I started attending more events myself once again. And it still came back to there's not really anything specific that I would like to attend right near where I live. I was traveling a lot to go to Dallas, and Dallas has a great beat on the pulse out there for women entrepreneurs, for women empowerment. And I kind of wanted to bring some of that same energy out a little bit farther north. So I chose Denton because number one, we've got TWU, UNT, and we've got a great encompassing atmosphere, neighborhood of community. But I just wasn't seeing anything where we could all kind of get together and rally around each other, lift each other up, choose collab over competition. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to have to do it. And basically the culmination was my first large event was a conference last year, July 2023. We had a conference in downtown Denton area, and we had over 50 women attend. So it was that reassurance that not only was it needed, that people would come to it, and it was something that was welcomed in the area.
Yeah, I love that so much. And it's crazy because we actually met through the Rise conference of Rachel Hollis and didn't meet
Yep.
there, but
Yep.
like through the networking and the Facebook groups and all of that, it's just crazy the way that the universe like works out. And then
Exactly.
years later, here we are, and we actually got to meet in person. And
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's so cool. I love that so much. Okay, so you decide you want to start this thing, like walk me through some of the first steps after you're like, okay, I have to do this. Like it's not out there. I've been waiting. Like it's still not there. Like I so relate to that because it was like, oh man, I wish this, I wish that. Well, it's not happening. So I have to do it. Like, and it's on your heart and you keep going back to it. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, I guess this is a thing that like I need to act on. So what were like some of the first steps after like, okay, I see this need, I want to do this, and I want to bring people together. Like what did you start to do?
Yeah, the first step was I realized it would be a great conference in my head. I envisioned it, but I knew that it can't be a great conference if there's no one to come. Well, how do I get people to come? Well, I'm going to have to get out there, introduce myself, get to know people, network with people, and start to build that which people will get to know my name and understand what it is my vision is and where I'm coming from. Because if you have no one to attend, there's nothing to build. So
Yeah.
um, and that's very hard for me because just by nature, I'm a quiet person. I'm introverted. I would rather be at home in my sanctuary of just quiet time and alone. And I knew it was going to be challenging to get out there and take those first awkward steps and introduce myself and then I don't want to say sell my business, but essentially I needed to let people know what my vision was and where I saw myself and where I see it leading to eventually. Because if I couldn't describe it to myself, then I knew I was going to struggle trying to describe it to someone else. And of course, there's always the practice of just discussions and talking with people and getting to know people. And it's all practice. And I know people sometimes think, okay, well, if I don't have it all labeled out perfect and I don't have a script, then I'm going to mess it up so bad. You know what? You might mess it up a little bit, but just you have to try again. And the next networking event, you'll have it together. Now you remember what worked last time, what didn't work last time. It's always a learning process. And I feel like some people give themselves too hard of a time and are very unforgiving if they're like, I'm not ready. And sometimes I feel like you're never ready. You just gotta do it. So
Yes. Oh, yes. I agree with that so much because I feel like you're never truly ready. You just start to take a step and you're like, okay, I did this little thing and now I've learned all these things, like you just start to take a step down the path and like the journey evolve, as you grow. I think personal development is huge in the role of an entrepreneur or someone that's creative or someone that's going after a dream or a vision that they have. That personal development journey has to come along with you. Like it's like every new level you step up, you're like, ooh, there's a new level of fear, there's a new level of doubt, there's a new level of all the things, maybe some new like limiting beliefs that you didn't have to deal with before. And you're on this other, like you're challenging yourself. So these things come up. So
exactly.
I think that's so great. And it is practice. It is just staying curious, staying, true to whatever the vision is, even if it comes out clunky or whatever, still being authentically you and showing up just this is what I'm doing and I'm really excited about it and share why. And it doesn't have to come out perfect. People don't like perfect people. There are no such thing as a perfect person. So just be yourself and the right people just start to kind of come into your life. And similarly to how I think you came into my life. So
Yeah.
just starting to put myself out there and oh, hey, you've got to connect with this person and you've got to connect with this person. And then that just builds on top of, each other. So it's really cool. So what were some of the things that you had to work through? Like as you're getting yourself out there and you're, sharing your vision and you're honing in how to communicate it clearly. Cause I've struggled with that too. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's called, but like I'm doing this thing and I don't know. And it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I'm just literally like, it's gonna be great and everyone should come, but I don't know what exactly it is. But
Yeah, no, and
that's
it's
my
the
own
like I
story.
said, the biggest starting off point was getting in room with other people who would see my vision because either they number one had either done it before, or that they were interested in personal development as well. And I'm not afraid to ask questions. If I don't understand something, I'm going to ask somebody, hey, I saw this event you did. What did you do when this happened? What was something you learned that you wish somebody had just told you that would maybe like, cut through some stuff that would make it a lot more quicker to get this part done.
Mhm.
So in that, you can quickly find mentors. That was one thing that I was just unashamedly like going after people with the email. Like they gave me their email address. I was like, I'm emailing you. I have these questions. This is what I see happening. How can you relate to this? And how would you suggest I make the best of my time so I can just kind of streamline as much as I can? And then it wasn't only that, but it was following up with people if I did go to networking events, because then it was creating that bond of, oh, hey, let's go get coffee. Let's talk more because I want to not only help that person with whatever their vision is, then they can further understand mine. And I want us to somehow work with each other and make each other grow in both whatever assets that we need us to. Um, and then it became uncomfortable when you have to start sending out a pitch deck to individuals of, then I had to look up, what is a pitch deck? What should a pitch deck look like? And creating a pitch deck. It's all the little things that you just literally have to make a list of and start marking them off. And it can be intimidating, but if at the same time, if you don't make that list, you'll be all over the place.
Mhm.
And for me, it was making the focus of one thing a week. It was, if I'm going to work on creating a website, that's what I'm doing this week. My deadline is to get it done in a week. Next week will be, I have to email 5 vendors for the possibility of being a balloon backdrop sponsor. I have to get that done. So it was, and I gave myself enough time, specifically because I wanted that my conference to be the big opener, if you will, for my business. I gave myself, I think, at least 8 months of really prepping, because I'm also, like you said, I'm a mom and a wife, and I work full time, and this is my side business dream.
Mhm.
So there was only so much time in the day, but I had to make the most use of it when I had a chance to. And that can just sometimes be in and of itself a little um, disheartening when you realize how much time it can take. But if you break it down, it can just be a little bit easier pill to swallow.
Oh, for sure. I love that advice because it's very practical and people like me need to hear that because I am like, I want to do all the things all at one
Mhm.
time. And then I'm like, oh, this would be fun. Let's start this. Like, and it's hard sometimes to really drill down to the focus and what is the priority and what actually has to be done, not all of the shiny, like glittery things that like might distract you along the
Yeah,
way.
that's a
Because
good way to put it.
yeah, I remember when I first started the podcast, I was like, oh, it'd be fun to also have like a merch shop. So I like started a merchandise shop and then I like did nothing with it. It's still out there floating somewhere. But I'm like, I just thought it'd be fun, so I did it. And then it's like I haven't really done anything else with it. So
Yeah.
it's good to like really be consistent and hone in on the things that are priority that are going to move you forward to conquering the goal, to having the event and all of that. So I think that's a huge, great advice. Um, so what are you working on right now? Like what is the next thing for you?
I'm currently, actually, just in 2 days, I did collab with 2 other women organizations, Empower Her Mind as well as I Am Strong, both great nonprofits in the Dallas Fort Worth area. We decided that we wanted to do a Mother's Day brunch. So we're celebrating moms. We're encouraging moms to come celebrate themselves, come out for a brunch. And so that's going great. I think there's only like 4 tickets left. So we're doing great as our first. This was our all of ours first biggest venture together. So we're really proud of that. Looking forward to attending that event as well. And then in June, I am going to be hosting a event in Denton, and we're working on it. I'm working with another phenomenal female entrepreneur, and it will be, right now the working title is Reflections. So we'll be looking to like tie all the loose ends once my event this weekend is over, and that will be a workshop that will be working on affirmations and positive talk to yourself, who you were, who you are, and who you're going to be are 3 different people. And when you make that transition is up to you. And we're kind of like culminating something to put that all together. Again, more women empowerment time, networking to get together. And then in August 31st, will be our second annual Better Together conference. And I'm excited. And I'm thrilled to have you as one of our panelists as part of our program as well.
Yes.
So thank you for saying yes.
Of course, that was a very quick, easy yes. I am so excited for that. And I'm so excited for everything you've got going on. I can't wait to like just continue this connection. And
Yeah.
I think that something you said earlier kind of triggered a thought for me was building on those relationships with like-minded women. And I think that it propels you, but it also propels, everyone that you're surrounding yourself with. You are able to go further faster when you have that community. And that was a lesson that I had to learn, and I'm still, learning and growing in that. But it's like trying to do it all yourself all the time only gets you so far, and I think for me, what I learned was I was trying to do it all by myself in the beginning because I don't think I had the confidence in what I was doing to bring anyone else along with me. Like that's just what it was. It was like, I don't have the confidence to like, I don't want to let anyone else down. I don't want, like the judgment piece, the this, the that, all of the things spiraling. Like, I'm not good enough to be a part of this circle of women, or I'm not as experienced. So it's just little me doing this little thing. And so I've got to do it all on my own. And what I've learned is when you do build those relationships and those friendships,
Mhm.
it helps you grow and it helps the collective community also grow and just excel. And it fast tracks whatever you're working on.
Exactly. Well, and that kind of hits on what you mentioned too earlier, actually, about authenticity. And that's what people want to see because people can't relate to perfection. They can relate to authenticity and that mistakes happen. And what did you do to correct them? And how did you try and start over? Or what did you learn? And it's always a process of it's better to start somewhere than not at all because you always have the answer of well, this won't happen if you don't start, but if you start you can fix what you actually begin. So
Yes. Oh, sure. It's so true. And like I feel like I'm on a mission to help people just walk that path even when you're scared, even when you're terrified of doing the next thing or the first thing or whatever it is. Just starting because you don't want to we don't know how long we have on this earth. So it's like you have to use your time that you have here and spread your message. And everyone has a message and a story. And I think it's so important to share that. I hear too often that people get to the end of their life and they have regrets. And the regret is I didn't have the courage to go after the thing I really wanted. I cared too much about what other people thought. I cared too much about if I failed. And that breaks my heart. And so when I think about that, I'm like, okay, I will be the example that will go out and embarrass myself for you to see that I'm still okay. I'm going to go do the thing anyways.
yeah,
And if I embarrass myself, oh well, I'm gonna get back up and I'm gonna keep trying. And
yeah.
you can too. So that is like a huge mission of mine.
Yes. Well, and I feel like on that, especially as a mom, I can't ask my kids to do something if I'm not willing to do it myself. So I
That's
have to be willing to get uncomfortable. I have to be willing to say, this wasn't fun and it was scary, but I did it anyway just because I knew it was in my heart to proceed. And I know there's sometimes like I know as a mom, you just want them to not hesitate when it comes to whatever on their heart, who they are, and just be themselves. And I was like, well, I have to practice what I preach and I have to be myself. And if that means I'm going to be working a little bit late one day to make these programs happen for women, it's like I've got to show them, yeah, it's not the most fun stuff all the time, but it's the end result that I'm looking for. And as mom, I've got to be able to show them that.
Yes, absolutely. And it's showing your children what's possible and what can be possible for them. And it's okay to be afraid sometimes. It's okay to have those fears and still go after a dream. So I love that mission so much. Okay, well, I'm going to link everything so that people can, connect with you and learn all about the events that you have coming up in the next weeks and months and stay in tune with all of that. So thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else you want to share with the woman out there that is afraid to start?
Just oh gosh, there's so much. It's a loaded question, but yeah, just the main thing that I've learned, and I can't remember where I heard it from, but the link between goals and accomplishments is just consistency. So just keep going.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much.